Has Disney CEO Bob Iger finally done what a lot of Star Wars fans have wanted and fired Kathleen Kennedy? A lot of people say yes. A lot of reputable people with sources from inside Lucasfilm. Now, usually I don't get into smut reporting, and that's what I kind of call this kind of stuff because it happens all the time. Everybody's always saying, Kathleen Kennedy's fired, Kathleen Kennedy's on her way out. But this time, there may be a little bit of truth to it. I don't know. Let's look into it. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Gerald, and I am a Star Wars fanatic. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give the video a like and share it with all your friends. All of them. Or don't. Whatever. Okay, so has Kathleen Kennedy been fired from Lucasfilm and being the head of Star Wars? Well, as I said in the beginning, I don't like to report on smut. I think it's dirty and cheap. But this time, I'm going to say something. And a lot of fans would be excited to finally know if Kathleen Kennedy has in fact been let go after what a lot of fans see as the debacle that was the sequel trilogy and a couple missteps in some of the series that came along. It seems the only real saving grace to Star Wars has been Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, and even Tony Gilroy. Now, it's important to mention that back in 2021, Kathleen Kennedy's tenure as the Lucasfilm head, her contract was renewed for a further 3 or 4 years or something like that. I don't know. I don't really get into that stuff. But it was extended and beyond this year. But then back in November of 2022, another YouTuber reported that his sources told him that Kathleen Kennedy was going to be on her way out shortly after the Indiana Jones 5 film released. Well, now we know how that film did in the box office. Yeah, not very good. Whatever. I was never really into the Indiana Jones movies. I thought they were fun, but, they should be retitled How Many People Can Shoot at This Guy and Miss. But the Indiana Jones movies have always done well in the box office. But now with the aftermath of the pandemic and all that stuff, theater sets have changed. People have changed the way they view things, especially with streaming services the way they are now. People are like, why spend $18 to go see a movie, $30 on a bag of popcorn, $50 on a giant gulp of pop when I can just sit at home and wait for it to hit streaming services in a month. Still, there are movies that are doing well in the box office. And for one, Sound of Freedom, a B-rated movie originally, has done better than Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Weird. But with the lack of success of Indiana Jones 5, the Solo a Star Wars story, the backlash from the sequel trilogy, it's no wonder a lot of fans want her gone. Me, I'm on the fence. I don't really know. I mean, I'm not a movie producer. I'm not a movie director. I'm not a movie executive. So I don't know how these things go. But I do know one thing. Kathleen Kennedy, before her tenure at Lucasfilm, was never really a creative mind in the great movies that she produced, such as the original Indiana Jones movies, E.T., Seabiscuit, that sort of thing. Now, tell me that she's going to be able to tell Steven Spielberg or George Lucas, look, I want this for the vision of this show. No, that's not going to happen. Those guys already know the film before it's shot. They already know what they're going to say. They already know what the movie's going to play out to be. They don't need Kathleen Kennedy to tell them, hey, let's do this creatively. No, she's never been a creative person. But she has been that person that can get resources, money, locations, that sort of thing. More of a gopher, if you will, I guess. I don't know. But Kathleen Kennedy has produced some of the best movies of our time. Well, at least my time. I'm an old man. So, we grew up with things like E.T. and the original Indiana Jones movies. And Kathleen Kennedy did a great job on those. Maybe. Did she do the great job, or was it Steven Spielberg and George Lucas? I think the latter, really. But when George Lucas appointed Kathleen Kennedy as the head of Lucasfilm during his retirement, yes, he appointed her. I'm sure there was an interview process that went on. I mean, how many people get a job without going through an interview process? And during this interview, she would have been asked questions like, do you love Star Wars? And she would have likely or hopefully said, yes, I love Star Wars. But how many of us lie in interviews? Maybe she doesn't love Star Wars. Maybe she's not even a Star Wars fan. But once we get the job, then they figure out that you can't really do the things that you said you could do during the interview process. They say, well, you said you could do these things. Well, of course I said I could do those things. I wanted the job. Duh. Now, that's not saying that Kathleen Kennedy hates Star Wars. I don't think she hates Star Wars. I just don't think she has the creative mind to go about it the way a lot of Star Wars fans would like. And included in that is her identity politics. Yes, I said I don't get into smut reporting and I don't like doing that stuff. It's cheap and dirty, but it's obvious that identity politics has played a part in the new Star Wars creations. Now, let me explain before you guys freak out and say I'm some white misogynistic who doesn't like anybody of anything else other than what I am. That is not true. Absolutely not true. I am all for being progressive. I'm all for getting the LGBTQ in there and people of minority in Star Wars. I love it. And I love having strong women in Star Wars. But don't make that character all about that identity. That does not need to be their identity. To say someone, oh, this is a strong female character. Well, why did you have to add female? We don't go in and say this is a strong male character. We don't do that. Why? Because it's just a strong character. Who cares if it's male or female? Make the character great. Make that character believable so we can get behind that character no matter what their identity is. And their character doesn't have to be about that identity. I mean, how many female characters were actually in the original trilogy of Star Wars? I mean, what, 2? Mon Mothma and Princess Leia? I mean, come on. Lots of dudes. Lots of dudes. That needed to change. That's obvious. Needed more female characters. Strong female characters, weak female characters, middle range female characters, whatever. It didn't matter. We needed them. But it didn't need to be about their gender. It didn't need to be about their sexuality or anything like that. And a lot of that has come forward in the new Star Wars. I'm not disagreeing with that. And for those of you who say I'm not critical enough about Star Wars, well, here you go. That's one thing I'm a little bit critical of. And a lot of times I ignore it. I stay away from it because it's a touchy topic and I don't like getting in the middle of it. But here I am, getting in the middle of it. Why? Because I've been doing a lot of research lately on the topic. And, it's kind of one of those things that needs to be brought up. And the identity politics has been obvious in Star Wars through Kathleen Kennedy. Yes, okay, remember when the Obi-Wan Kenobi series came out, and a lot of people said, okay, this character, who's this Reva? What's she about? And they came out and said, well, if you don't like Reva, then you're a racist. No, I don't like Reva because the actress wasn't believable. Not that the story writing was bad, but if the actress was a little more into it and more believable, then maybe I would have liked the character a lot more. That's my one hang up with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Reva. Didn't really like her that much. Sorry. And it wasn't about her identity as being a female or someone of a minority. It was because the actress just wasn't that good. If you'd have put somebody in there that was good, female, male, whatever, then I would have said, okay, this is a cool character. I like this one. Now, if you look at Morak in the Ahsoka series, that looks like a cool character, but we'll have to see how the acting goes in that. And the same with Ray Stevenson's Baylan Skoll. Let's see how believable he is. Yeah. We'll see. But Kathleen Kennedy has put this identity into Star Wars where it didn't need to be. It really doesn't need to be anywhere in cinema. I mean, yeah, hire the people. That's great. I'm all for it. Bring them on. Let's have some more diversity in Star Wars and other cinema, but don't make the character about that identity. Make the character about the character, their motives, their motivations, and so on and so forth. And this is where I'm okay with Kathleen Kennedy being let go, because she's not a creative person. She is a nuts and bolts person. She's the person that gets things done, not creates those things. She finds the locations, she gets the money secured for the project, and so on and so forth. But then we have to think, if Kathleen Kennedy is fired from Lucasfilm and Disney, then who's going to replace her? Kevin Feige? Well, a lot of people are disappointed with the way the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been going lately, and they're losing faith in it. So I don't think that's a good bet. Dave Filoni, great creative mind. He has a great way of telling complex stories, and it fits in the Star Wars universe, and he was ultimately trained by George Lucas himself. But how does his resume look? Is he good at producing? Is he good at getting the things needed to get the job done in a Star Wars show or movie? Well, I don't know. I'm not behind the scenes, so I couldn't say, but it doesn't look that way so far. Well, then we have Jon Favreau. Could he take over Lucasfilm? Well, I don't think he has much interest in taking over Lucasfilm. I think he's a fan who enjoys playing in the sandbox and creating stuff for us. I think he has the fans at heart, but he just wants to continue creating. And that's wonderful. We need people like that. We need Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and Bryce Dallas Howard, and we need all those people, but are they up for leading Lucasfilm? Like I said, it's going to be an interview process. If she is fired from Lucasfilm, and I'm not saying she is, I don't have inside sources. I'm not going to claim to have inside sources. I'm just going off what's being reported now. But at the same time, if Kathleen Kennedy has been fired from Lucasfilm and Disney, then why is everything so silent? Why is nobody talking about it? Why is nobody coming out and confirming it or denying it? Well, the Ahsoka series comes out in just 21 days. I think it's 21 days. 20 days. 20 days as of now. The Ahsoka series will come out, and we're going to see how that plays out. And I think they're holding it close to their chest until we see that. Now, can you imagine if they said, okay, Kathleen Kennedy's fired because of her missteps and so on and so forth. We're going with other options, and she hasn't done a really good job. And then you got the Ahsoka series coming out, and people are going to say, well, she didn't do a good job. You guys didn't think she did a good job. Then why should I watch the Ahsoka series if it's not going to be good? Well, it's probably going to be good, but, it remains to be seen. And they're not going to fire Kathleen Kennedy before it comes out just so people can not watch it. Doesn't make any sense. But let me know what you think in the comments. Is Kathleen Kennedy gone? Are you happy if she is gone? Are you sad if she's gone? I don't think many people are going to be sad, me included. But who do you think should replace her? Let me know. I want to hear from you. And this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching. And remember, this is the way. And positivity in the Star Wars community should be the only way.